Times are getting tough. Costs are going up, hours are going down, wages remain the same. Each year, your raise falls behind inflation, which means every step forward leads to 2 steps back. Working harder to stay where you're at, you may start thinking to yourself, why not have a little break? Add a little excitement to your life. Throw a little money down because, after all, you know some people who have won here or there. Hell, you may even know some people who have managed to pay their rent with their winnings. The more your friends win, the louder they brag. Part of you questions how much they're blowing smoke, but part of you thinks, that could be me. You get to thinking, you know sports at least as well as them. They're no smarter or luckier than you. With sports betting especially, there must be some level of skill involved, right? Hey, some people have even learned to cheat the casinos and make out like bandits. So it is possible. After all, anything is. Thinking of how much they won might even evoke daydreams of paying off all your debts and riding in to save the day with family and friends that have been disappointed time and time again. Or maybe you're not quite there yet. Maybe you've noticed the itch towards indulging in a little vice to make it through the week, or the day, or even 1 hour. Slowly, it might be creeping up, edging into the back of your awareness, feeling like a better and better idea, like an itch you just have to scratch. You may even reach for your phone to partake in a little fun. Escape from the dinner table to sit on your throne and indulge in a fix. Before I go further, let me introduce myself. I'm Phil Shea, an addictions counselor who's been knocked down, climbed out, and now helps others do the same. I've spent over half a decade working in addictions and mental health, and if you're ready to make a change, I'd be honored to support you on that path. Just click the link below. The more you play, the bigger the hole you find yourself in. You're not too far gone though. One big win and you'll be square. Then that win comes, and you realize you have a little house money to play with. With that, the cycle continues. Your shame and guilt growing with every passing day on this not-so-merry-go-round. That's exactly where they want you. The casinos promise riches, fun, excitement, instant success, and even the attention of beautiful women. Instead, it leads to sneaking away to sit on the toilet, to stare at a glowing screen, and lying about your bowel movements to justify the time you can't talk about with anyone because they wouldn't understand. Just stop, they'll say, alongside a string of judgments and condemnations that sound like the way you speak to yourself in the wee hours. If that feels familiar, you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. I've worked with countless people in that exact spot, and I can help you too. When you're ready, tap the link below and let's start rebuilding. Our entire system is designed to extract everything from us and give just enough back to keep us gasping for air. With the way our system is built, it has to be that way. Physical reality can only be pushed so far until we get to the limits of our current technology. But business needs to see ever-increasing profits forever. That means they take where everything is most malleable, in the social realm. See, the difference between turning something into its drug form is a matter of concentration. Compare the effects of drinking a cup of tea to snorting crushed-up caffeine pills. Same active ingredient, different concentration. With chemicals, it's much more straightforward. But what you'll notice if you look around, the social, emotional aspects of life have been increasingly pushed in the same direction. Social media, dating apps, short video platforms, gambling apps, video games, on and on, you can see the aspects where they've picked off a slice of the most rewarding aspects of life and sucked out the parts that make them worthwhile, leaving only the most neurologically rewarding aspects. It's junk food. And just like junk food, they can always blame the customer for not being able to manage their impulses. They know it's pretty easy to give mouth service to responsible playing, but they have no intent of undercutting their bottom line, which must grow like a tumor until the end of time. There is no limit to limbic capitalism, which is where we find ourselves currently. It's a system that encourages businesses to take anything that has a monetary incentive encouraging addiction to lead there, often with as much speed as they can get away with. Let me repeat. Anything that has a financial incentive leading toward addiction and no legal barrier stopping it will reach that point as soon as they figure out how. Not only that, but if you notice how they want us as separated and solitary as possible, the more isolated and alienated we are from each other, the lower our emotional states, and the more likely we're going to reach for ways to make us feel better. This all leads us back to addiction. First, we need to separate that from dependence, which is when your body physically requires the substance or else you'll be tossed into withdrawal. But addiction, that's purely psychological. It's the itch to reach towards something, the pull towards it, despite not physically needing it. That pull, that fixation with the target of one's addiction, is often a means of dealing with difficulties in life. In general, we reach for ways to deal with negative emotions, and depending on our own history, we may not have the best ways of coping. Whether chemical or behavioral, when you're feeling down, society provides something you can reach for to lift yourself back up, especially if it makes a buck. Normally, though, there aren't too many troughs in life, which means you're naturally moderating your use because there isn't an emotional need to overindulge. But sometimes the hits just keep on coming, landing hard one after the other. I get it. I've been down before, and I know it isn't easy. For a quick overview of my own struggles, after graduating with a degree in psychology and working in addictions roles for years, I found my hours going down and my costs going up, making it increasingly hard to simply make ends meet, forget having money for recreation or socializing. When nearly every public space comes with a paywall, you can end up on the outside looking in, while living in your own country. All of this drove me to take a risk by moving abroad. While out there, I taught English, built a few businesses, and things were going well. But each time something would start to take off, something outside my control would roll over and crush it. I had built a life that felt solid. A business, a relationship, and a plan. Then the pandemic hit and everything unraveled. I tried to rebuild, launched a few online projects, scraped things back together, and made another go of it. But life once more wasn't cooperating. Another relationship ended, work disappeared again, and I crashed back to square one. So believe me when I say, I know what it's like to feel like your life is spiraling. Like every time you try to climb, all the handholds crumble away. It can be scary just to hope for something better, let alone attempt to move toward it. I was lucky though. I had friends and family to catch me. Without them, I could have slipped into something much darker. That's what addiction often is. A lifeline that starts to strangle you. A support system that creates more problems than it solves. And I'll say, it makes a lot of sense for the first while. But eventually, the dragon will turn and consume its rider. So, what do you do when your only support starts causing bigger problems than the ones it was used to solve? You end up leaning harder on it for the same reasons that started the whole thing, causing the cycle to accelerate downward like a plane with burning wings. For anyone just getting started in life, all of society can feel like it wasn't built for you, that you are the problem and that you should have done something different. Even those of us who were born earlier can find that same crunch creeping up on us. I understand how difficult it can be to pull yourself out of a dive. When pulling up doesn't work, sometimes the answer is to hit eject and rely on new tools. With my help, you can find yourself with the fortitude, endurance, and strength to step away and get your life back on track. Let me act as your parachute, helping you to direct yourself to a safe landing place at a pace that is manageable for you. There are legitimate reasons why you started down this path, and if we are able to identify them, we can successfully pull you out of the cycle and begin toward a life of prosperity, meaning, and connection. First, we'll talk through your situation, getting a solid understanding of what's going on and why. We'll work on making the right path seem obvious and easy. The next step is figuring out concrete actions and breaking them down into bite-sized chunks that make the whole process more rewarding and simple. Together, we'll uncover what works best for you. And once you're moving in the right direction, we'll do some deeper work to eliminate your desire to reach for that stove again, stopping you from getting burned. When you're ready, click the link below to explore your options. We can do this together at your pace, and we can start now. You don't have to do it alone, and it doesn't have to be a struggle. This is Phil Shea, your friendly addictions counselor, signing off and thanking you for taking the time to invest in your future. Let's find your better path forward together.